How are you guys doing? You excited for some woohoo talking about plastics? Yes, I bet you didn't think plastics could be exciting, but I promise you they are. So just hang on a second here. I'm gonna get the screen share set up, and yeah, we'll get to it. How does that sound? So yeah, bit cold recently in Kunming. It's getting a bit nippy. How about you guys? Where you live? Is it starting to get a little bit cold? Yeah. So yeah, as she said, my name is Miss Grace. I live in Kunming in Yunnan, China. Yeah, can you just type in your name, please? Where do you live? What's your age? What's your grade? Yeah, just type it into the chat box, please. And yeah, it'd be nice to kind of see who is all here today. Ah, it rained in Canada? Yeah, plastic is bad for the earth. Good point, Yolanda. You guys don't have snow in Canada yet, huh? I guess it depends where you are. Fourth grade. Canada, fourth grade. Ah, Shanghai. Sweet. Is it getting cold in Shanghai? Guangdong? Is it getting cold there yet? I've been surprised. Kunming, it was really warm recently. Not too cold yet. Okay, so you had some snow, but it melted. Cool. Shanghai. Yeah, more Shanghai. Grade 6. Hi, Abby. Hi, Tony. Hi, Yolanda. Hong Kong. Nice. Can't imagine you guys are much colder than Kunming at this point. Yeah, so it's nice to get to meet you all. And yeah, it's nice to. Hey, Jason, how are you? It's yeah, great to talk with you guys. It's Saturday night, and like, what's more exciting than talking about plastic, right? It's so exciting. Hi, Mickey. Yeah. So yeah, so I'm here, you guys are over here and over here, it seems. So awesome. All right, let's just do a little experiment here. So I'm going to count to 20, and in 20 seconds, I want you to count how many plastic things you can see in your room. Okay, so I'm going to start counting, and you guys look and count all the different plastic things. So like, for example, like this paper clip is coated in plastic, that counts. This box has plastic, that counts. This pencil bag is made out of plastic, that counts. Okay, so I'm gonna go. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Wow, more than 100. Some people 49, 12, 36. Wow, yeah. So guys, plastic is, here's a big word for you, ubiquitous. Can you say that? Ubiquitous? Yeah, ubiquitous just means like everywhere. It's ubiquitous in our modern world. So plastic is everywhere. Oh yeah, if you have Legos, a bunch of plastic, but supposedly some of their plastic's recycled. So anyway, yeah, plastic is everywhere. We use it for a lot of different things. How do you guys use plastic every day? Like some uses of plastic, like for example, this soda bottle, right? It's a bit of a wasteful use, right? Like this, I use it one time, and then what happens to it? It ends up going into the recycling or the garbage, right? But there's other ways, other things I can do, right? That might be a better way to use it. So what are some ways that you use plastic? Somebody already said Legos. Okay, here are some things. All right. Yeah, X-ray. Actually, this here is called a MRI. Okay, and you can see this machine has a lot of plastic on it. But do we use this machine one time and then throw it away? No, we don't. We use it a lot of times, right? And so this might actually be a pretty smart use of plastic, right? Like MRI machine, those are important for medicine. What about like a Coke bottle? Do you think that's a good use of plastic? What do you guys think? Is a Coke bottle a good use of plastic? No. Yeah, right? There might be a better material that we could put this in. For example, a glass bottle, which is a bit easier to process. We could use a aluminum can, right? There's different types of things. I mean, like, also, like, for that matter, is like Coke a good thing for you to be drinking anyway? Coke's not that good for you, right? So, like, just how about you not drink the Coke and have a cup of water, you know? All right, what about this? What's all this stuff over here? What is all this? Yeah, it's plastic, but what is this plastic being used for? What is all this stuff? We got some pills. This is something. Yeah, it's medical stuff. Very good, guys. So, what do you think is more important? The Coke bottle, or do you think it might be more important to use it for things like this, like medicine? Yeah, it would be more important for medical stuff. Like, you don't want to have the doctor give you a shot with a needle that's been used like 3 other times. Like, we don't want to reuse this kind of stuff, right? It's important that it's kept clean. But there might be some other options. Like, instead of putting our pills in these little packs where we pop out the pills, maybe we could put them in something like a bottle. Like a bottle, this might use a little bit plastic. You might be able to clean it and reuse it. Send it in and the company can clean it and repackage things. So there might be better ways, but yeah, there's certain ways that plastic can be helpful, and there's a smart way to use it, and there's certain ways that might not be so smart. What about this? These single-use plastic things. Yeah, that's not so good, right? So these plastic wares, actually France banned plastic toys. They said, or not plastic toys, plastic dishes. You can't buy these single-use plastics anymore in France. So yeah, there are good uses and smart uses, and then there's uses that aren't so good and smart. How about a toy? Do you think this toy could last a while? Like, some toys you get and they break really quick, right? Like, you know what I'm talking about? You go and you spend like 2 kwai on a toy and you're like, oh, look, it's great. And then it breaks and you're like, oh, whatever, right? But then there's some toys that are better made, right? So plastic for toys, what do you think? Yes or no? Plastic for toys. Yeah, the toy would get boring. What about this? This is kind of a toy, right? What do you think? Okay, so yeah, sometimes yes, sometimes no, right? But yeah, one of the things with this is this easy or hard to recycle? It's going to be hard to recycle, right? Your phone. All right. So plastics, at the end of the day, are they a good thing or a bad thing? What do you think? Explain. Okay, bad. Why do you think they're bad? Why do you think they're bad, Jason? Okay, Hanlu says you don't know. And you know what? I appreciate that, Hanlu. Yeah, pollution is a bad thing. Okay, Mickey says both. That's a very good answer. Why do you think both, Mickey? So if we think about plastics, it's a tool, right? These things are tools, right? They can cause pollution if we're irresponsible, but if we use them properly, they don't have to be a problem, right? This pencil, is it good or bad? Okay, you can't really say if the pencil is good or bad. Like, if I use a pencil to go and stab you, it's a bad pencil, right? I've used it in a bad way, right? But if I use it to take notes and write something nice to you, it's a good thing, right? So plastics in and of themselves are not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It's on us as people because we make the choices that make them good or bad. So keep that in mind as we talk about some of these issues. Yeah, sometimes good, sometimes bad. Yeah, I like it. You guys are thinkers. Okay, yes, pencils are made out of wood, but look, I have rubber, I guess, not plastic. Okay, the outside of it has some plastic on it because, yeah, anyway. Yeah, but my point is plastics are neither good or bad. It depends on how we use them, right? So there's good uses and bad uses. Okay, here's some boys drinking it. Oh, yeah. Is that a good use or a bad use? Bad use, right? And they chucked it into the ocean. You can see, so bad, right? So don't drink Coke, and don't throw your Coke bottle or your Sprite or Fanta or whatever into the garbage. Okay, so today's book, we're going to be talking about plastic dependency. Now, think about everything in your room for a second. You just counted like 100 different things in your room. Okay, I want you to imagine now all those 100 plastic things in your room gone, no longer exist. How does your life change? Okay, we could not even have class right now if we did not have plastic, because our computers and our keyboards are made in part out of plastic. So if we got rid of plastic completely, man, there's nothing. We got nothing, right? The outside, like, your wires here, like here's my wire, my charger for my computer, it's wrapped in plastic. If we don't have plastic, we're not even going to have electricity. Okay. Yeah, the screen is plastic. Plastic's everywhere. So we do depend on plastics. Okay. We have a plastic dependency. Okay. So something to think about. So obviously here we're looking at like a plastic toy dinosaur and like forks and stuff. Like, do you need a toy dinosaur? Like, oh, if I don't have a dinosaur, I'm going to die. No, of course not. You're going to be okay. Right. So there's some ways we use plastic, like this, like the single use forks, plastic bottles. It's kind of stupid, right? We could do better than using them the way we've been using them, right? All right, so let's go ahead. Yeah, we're not going to read through the entire book today because this book is huge. It's got a lot of content in it, but we're going to look over parts of it, and we're going to talk through different issues that we see in it. If you want to look at the whole book, I'll send my PowerPoint to the teacher, the administrator, and she can send it to you guys. And yeah, you guys can look at the book more yourself. So, all right. Plastics, the problem is plastic is not going to break down like natural materials such as wood, leather, and cotton. So like this cardboard box, it's going to break down. Give it a few months, it's going to break down. Well, everything except for the plastic on it. Plastic doesn't break down. It remains in the environment for hundreds or if not thousands of years. Honestly, we're still working out how quickly plastic breaks down because it's a new material. So some studies say that plastic breaks down over 200 years, 300 years. Some studies say longer, but it depends on the situation. So if I take a plastic bottle like this and I put it in the sunshine and I let it get exposed to the sunshine and rain, it will go away quickly. Can you imagine? Not quickly, but it will break down quickly. Okay, but if I take the same bottle and I go and I bury it in the earth, what's going to happen is that plastic bottle is just going to like sit there like, yeah, this is good. Nothing bad is going to happen to me. It's just going to sit buried in the earth for a long time. It's never going to go away. Yeah. Okay. So somebody's saying you can burn it. Well, yes, you can burn it, but we'll talk a little bit about that later. Not a good idea. Using a flamethrower, you could burn it with a flamethrower, but we'll talk about why burning trash, even with a flamethrower, Jason, is a bad idea. Okay. All right. So recycling allows us to reuse it. So for example, this plastic bottle, I can send it off to a recycling plant and it can get turned into my next cell phone, right? But actually only about 9% of all of the plastic in the world gets recycled. So, how many plastic bottles have you thrown into the recycling? There's a good chance it's not going to get recycled. So a lot of plastic actually gets sent to landfills. Have you guys heard that word before? Landfills. Okay, a landfill is just like a garbage place where we dump all the garbage. Yeah, so they do actually incinerate or burn some of the plastic that we have. Like you guys are talking in the conversation about throwing it into a nuclear power plant. Okay, nuclear power is not designed to make energy out of plastic, but they do have these things called like garbage incinerators that they get extremely hot, like hotter than your flamethrower, Jason. They get so hot that they burn the plastic completely and utterly and destroy it. And then it has something special that cleans the smoke so that all the poisons when we burn the plastic don't get released. Okay, so plastic, not much of it gets recycled. It sticks around a long time. And then this is another big problem. Plastic gets into your food. Yes, that's right. You eat plastic. Okay, yeah, it gets into your food. So we'll talk about how it gets into your food, but yes, you guys are all eating plastic, especially if you like fish. Okay, so we actually all have a part to play in the problem of plastic pollution. Okay, understanding how plastics are made, what happens to plastic items when we are done using them, and the dangers of plastic poses to our environment is vital to our health and the health of our planet. Because plastic products are convenient and cheap to make and use, our dependence on plastic has led to a worldwide problem, a solution that is not easy or straightforward. With good and complete information, we can make good decisions about how to fight for change. That might mean holding companies and governments responsible. It might also mean a change in our own habits of buying and using plastics in our lives. Okay, so yeah, this is the big issue. As you see, like if we go back here, like there are good uses of plastic. MRI machine, yay! MRI machine's great. Plastic Coke bottle, no, not good. So it's not a simple good or bad issue. There's smart ways and unintelligent ways to use plastics. All right, so if we look here, okay, here are actually some good uses of plastics, okay? You guys, we already talked about the MRI machine, super important. If you get hurt, the doctor goes and takes pictures of you. Reusable bottles, this is great. These Nalgene bottles, these reusable bottles, you can, you know, fill them up 300, 400, 500, 600, a million times, and you can just have, you know, your water. Or, you know, heck, if you're even going to insist on drinking your Coca-Cola and your fizzy drinks, when you go to like a restaurant, if you're in Canada, you could ask for them to put it in the Nalgene bottle instead of like a cup. You could save plastic cups that way. So, you know, these are nice resources. How about this? You guys ever use any of these? You know what this is? These little like Tupperwares, right? They're great, man. You can just put your food in there and save it, and then you don't have to, you know, you go on a picnic and you just use that to eat out of instead of the plastic plates. Yeah, lunch boxes, right? It's a lot better than like going to McDonald's and getting like, you know, I guess they don't use styrofoam anymore, but like, you know, you go and you get like a burger and it has like, you know, all the packaging, plastic. Like it's better than that, right? It's better for the environment. You can use this, you know, 100, 300 times before it breaks on you. It's a great thing. And then like even like heart valves. So like if you have a lot of people, they have like heart problems, you can use plastic to make heart valves. It saves people's lives. So like plastic can be quite good. Okay. But one of the problems is that mostly plastic, we're not using it for things like MRI machines. We're not using it for things like heart valves and useful things. We're actually, well, I mean, we're using it for useful things, but we're not using it in a way where we can use it again and again and again. We actually use about 35 to 45% of our plastic is used in packaging. Okay, I just ordered this off Taobao. You guys want to know what's inside? Any guesses? Okay, we'll see what's inside our box here. Okay, so we'll see, right? Oh, what's in the box? Let's listen. Oh, it sounds exciting, right? Oh, what could it possibly be? So I ordered this off Taobao. Okay, you can see right away we're using plastic tape, right, to seal it up. Oh yeah, pizza. It could be pizza. I don't think it's pizza. Yeah, it's been sitting in my house for a few days. If it's pizza, I can't eat it anymore. All right, so all right, let's see here. Let's open this up here. Okay, so what's here? So I'm cutting through the tape. And have you guys ever gotten a package off Taobao? Like maybe you get a computer or something? or you get like a cell phone or something. And what does it always come with whenever you get something off Taobao? It always comes in, oh, hey, look at that. Oh, this is pretty cool. Oh, what's it in? What is this in? Okay, what are they? Can you tell what they are? They're little dinosaurs. Yeah, okay, they're little dinosaurs, plastic dinosaurs. And what are the plastic dinosaurs wrapped in? They are wrapped in a plastic bag. Oh, and we have another one. Okay, lots of dinosaurs. Ooh, and they even gave me an extra one for free. Yeah, see, there he is. He's looking at you. Okay. Yeah, so they put the plastic pop thing, the bubble wrap. Bubble wrap is what we call it. They put the bubble wrap in there, and that protects it, which is important, right? But then what do you do with the bubble wrap when you're done? What do you do with the bubble wrap when you're done? Okay. If you're like my husband, yes, my husband will just sit there and go pop, 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 pop. And then when you pop the bubble wrap, is the bubble wrap still good to be used again? Can you use the bubble wrap again when you pop all of it? Yeah, it's fun to pop it. Yeah, you can pop it, but it doesn't have as much protection, right? Or you throw it away, okay? So this is, something to think about, especially as we keep getting more and more things off our beloved Taobao, our beloved Amazon, right? It's so easy. You're like, oh, Mom, I want this, or I want to buy that, and you can buy it so easily, right? And then it comes, and every time it comes, it has plastic packaging that it comes with, right? So, this is something, we need to think about. What could you do instead of bubble wrap? If you were a company and you wanted to package your things, what could you do instead of bubble wrap for packaging? Any ideas? Cotton, great idea. Okay, what else? So cotton can be very useful, right? What else could we do? Do you have any old paper? Old paper might be a great way to package some things. Old newspapers, right? You could use old boxes, right? So we don't necessarily always have to use something like plastic, but if we're like, okay, maybe instead of buying the bubble wrap, I have some old plastic bags, okay, which is still plastic, but you can reuse those plastic bags to help protect the thing and wrap it. And then when the plastic bags get to the person, they can actually use those plastic bags for something else. So you can actually reuse the same packaging over and over again. You could use paper, you could use lots of different things. But when 41% of the plastic that is in the world is packaging, we have to think, how do we do better, right? Like, we always have our plastic bags, right? I don't know what it's like in Canada, and I don't know what it's like in Shanghai and Guangdong and Hong Kong, but I know in Kunming, I always go out to go shopping, and they're always like, hey, here's one tomato. Like, I just want to buy one tomato. I'm like, it's okay. 我不用塑料袋. I just say, I don't need a plastic bag. It's like, no, 我给你one. 我不要. So I argue with the people. I don't want it. And I just say, I'll put it in my pocket. I don't need it. Or what I do, what I've actually started to do for the past couple years is I use this. Okay, this is my grocery shopping bag. And so I just use that. And the vendors, all the people who sell me, I speak some Chinese. Yeah, and you can save the plastic bags too. Like, sometimes when I go shopping, I don't bring enough bags and I need one more. But if every time I go shopping, I bring this, over a long time, I save a lot of plastic bags, right? So, it's not a big thing to just, bring my bag along. And then I tell the vendors all the time, like, whatever, it's fine. I tell the people who sell me things, like, hey, I don't want a plastic bag. And they always look at me like, what? Or even sometimes if I go and I buy like chicken or I buy pork, I'll bring my own container and I'll just say, put it in this. And they look at me like, And they say, okay, and they put it in there. And so, it's a small thing, but if every time I go shopping, I don't use 5 plastic bags or 6 plastic bags over a long period of time, over a period of a year, that can save, 1,000 plastic bags from going into the environment. And yeah, reusing the plastic bags I do have, I can use them for other things, packaging, I use them for crafts sometimes. It saves it from just going into the environment. Okay, one of the big problems with plastic bags is this thing called microplastics. Do you guys know what micro means? Micro? It's a microscope. What does a microscope do? Do you know what micro means? Yeah, micro means small. So microplastics are very small, very tiny plastics, right? So microscopes make something small big, right? Okay, so microplastics, these are teeny tiny itty bitty little whiny bits of plastic, okay? And what ends up happening is these are the plastics that end up getting eaten by algae and by fish and by plankton, and then we eat the fish and then we get the microplastics in us. So there is a big problem with microplastics, but it's a big debate. Like plastics in general, it says the plastic dependency debate centers on who is responsible for the risks and damage from plastic to our health and the health of our world. What should we do about it? The amount of plastic showing up in every corner of the planet, and who should work to fix the problem? The companies are producing plastic face very little pressure to cut back on their production. To solve the problem, we first need to understand it and get a good balanced view by seeing all sides of the issue. With a good and correct information, we can create our own personal strategy to stay informed, right? So part of this problem is the companies that are making things in such a way that help create the problem. But then we as people who buy the products, we are responsible to help pressure these companies to make better decisions and to protect our own world, right? Like we don't have to take the plastic bag from the lady when we buy vegetables. We can use this guy, right? All right, so what is plastic anyway? All right, plastic is a polymer, which just means many pieces, okay? Science has a lot of these words like microscope or polymer, these compound words that have a prefix and a suffix that mean a specific thing. So a lot of times with sciencey words, you can look at something and be like, oh, it has this bit and that bit. It means blah, blah, blah. For example, biology, life study, okay? Study of life. All right, so a polymer is a hydrocarbon, okay? Again, that's one of those compound words. A hydrocarbon is just something that has a lot of hydrogen and carbon atoms, okay? So if you look here, this guy here, this is called ethylene, okay? This is what plastic is made out of, okay? So ethylene, you can see it has 2 carbons and 2 hydrogens. That's a hydrocarbon, okay? And what happens is we take these hydrocarbons. For example, if this is an ethylene molecule, you see that there, the little paper clip, and I do a chemical reaction, I add some energy and a catalyst, and I do some stuff, boom, now look, it's connected, okay? Yeah, one oxygen, 2 hydrogens is water. Okay, so if you look here, if this is like ethylene, and I take another ethylene and I connect it, and then I take another ethylene and I connect it. Let's see if I can make a paper clip chain. Okay, I take another one, okay, and I start connecting all of these things together, okay, I now have a polymer. So what most plastics are is they're actually composed of many linked bits, okay? And they're polymers. They usually come from oil, okay? We call them polymers. If I just have like one of these guys, we don't call it a polymer. It's only one of them. We call it a monomer. Any guesses what mono means? Monomer. Monomer just means one piece, okay? So that's where plastics, the chemistry behind them, okay? So if we look actually at where they come from, we have oil up here in the beginning, and then about 70% of that oil is going to get turned into some type of fuel. So they're going to turn it into gasoline or jet fuel or something else. And then we have about 7% of it that ends up getting turned into plastics. Okay, well, okay, I guess this is saying plastics is 4%, and then other chemicals 3%. So most of the oil is going to be turned into fuel of some sort, but some of it's going to get turned into these plastics, okay? But if only 4% of the oil is getting turned into plastic, and already our ocean is filled with plastic, can you imagine what would happen if there was much more? It'd be pretty bad, huh? All right. This is my favorite word. I learned this fact today, okay? Fun fact, plastic pellets are used. These plastic pellets that are used, so they take the ethylene and they turn it into these little plastic pellets here, okay, guys? These plastic pellets, they are called nurdles. Isn't that a great word? Try saying it. Nurdles, okay? So a nurdle is just this little plastic bead here, okay? Kind of a fun word. Don't be a nurdle, because you'll be a plastic bead. All right, I thought it was fun. All right, yeah, a nurdle is just this plastic bead, okay? So what they do is they take the ethylene, okay? They take this this stuff, the ethylene, and they turn it into plastic, okay? And the plastic is just these little beads. And then what they'll do is they'll take these plastic beads and then they'll send them to a factory, and a factory will melt them down and it will turn them into a bottle of cheese, like a cheese bottle, okay? So a nurdle is just a plastic bead that will get melted down. It's a little bit like, you know, chocolate melts and you can take chocolate and turn it into like a chocolate bunny, right? So a chocolate chip, chocolate bunny, right? So this is like the chips of plastic that they'll turn into other things. You got it, Yolanda? Nurdles, fun, right? All right, so when we're trying to understand this debate, when we're trying to learn about what's going on, it's actually really important that you guys are paying attention to the resources, okay, that you're pulling from, because there are some companies, there are some actors out there that they're like, I make all of my money from making plastic. I really don't want you to use less plastic. I want you to use more plastic. And so there are some companies that they will try to influence the information that comes out. Okay, there's also some people that maybe they're more worried about, like, they're more worried about like the fish and the turtles, and they're not necessarily thinking about the MRI machines and saving people's lives, right? So it's important that when you're looking at information on this topic, that you're getting it from reliable resources and that you're getting it from different resources, okay? Because there is a good side and there is a bad side to the plastics, right? But what's really important is that we as consumers, okay, are informed about our decisions. So anytime you are getting information on this, you want to consider something called bias. Can you guys say that word? Bias. Okay. So bias is just an opinion, like when you have an opinion about something or a way that you feel about something that maybe influences the way you talk about it. Okay. So when you start to gather information, you will notice that some reports and articles have a slant towards a certain set of belief, right? So for example, some people are like, plastic bags are good for the environment because they don't cut down trees. And by not cutting down trees to make paper bags, we're saving trees and preventing carbon. Okay, and then other people are like, well, no, plastic never breaks down in the environment and we can grow more trees, but once the plastic's in the environment, it's there for thousands of years. So these are two different biases, okay? So it's important that you're aware of the slant with some of these things and that you process it for yourself, okay? Yeah, so our personal opinion in favor or against something or someone, that's called a bias. So like, some people, okay, so China, this is interesting. China is the #1 manufacturer of plastics in the world. Okay, so if you have two countries, okay, if you have China talking about plastics, they're probably going to say plastics is less damaging to the environment than a country maybe like Canada, because Canada actually doesn't make much plastics, right? And China has a lot to lose if the plastic manufacturing cuts down. And so there is a bias with the information coming out, right? But like if China just, stopped manufacturing plastics, that would cost a lot of jobs. That would cost a lot of people their livelihoods, right? And not all of those plastics that are being manufactured are being used poorly. But some people are like, well, we just need to stop. And is that really the best answer to the solution? So this is a complex issue. It's not just about like, oh yeah, we just need to do this and the problem's over. Like I wish it was that simple, but it's not, right? So yeah, we talked about why some people might think it's not a problem. I'm just gonna speed up a little bit here. All right. Yeah, so it comes down to a lot of people, yeah, they have a bias and they don't want to lose money. And yeah, that's a mixed thing, right? Is like people need money to survive. So it's not just like, oh, money's evil. It's, you need money to buy food. So yeah, money and greed, it's a big motivator. All right, so let's look here. It's not just about money though. Let's look here. Look at some of these things. Why do you think you might want to keep using this? What is this? You know what that is? Okay, so I'm actually looking at the stuff in here in the bottle. Sanitizer, but what are these little beads? What are these little beads? You know what those are? Those, my friend, no, actually they're not often plastic. These are micro beads, and actually they're not vitamins so much. Usually they're encapsulated in a little plastic bubble. Okay, yeah, okay, so these little tiny plastic bubbles, you put it on your hands, they pop, maybe they release the vitamins. But then what happens to those plastics? Where do they go? You wash your hands, where do those plastics go? They go down the drain. And where does the drain go? The drain goes to the ocean. Okay. Yeah, to the sewer, and the sewer to the ocean. How about this? You guys like your KFC, your Kendaji, your Mai Dang Lao? You like that? What's this? Ketchup, right? So do you think this can be recycled? Can that be recycled? No, it can't, right? So, but sometimes you get a hamburger and you want to, so why do you use that? Okay, what about this? Why would we use this? Right? I mean, we all know what that is. We've all used it at some point. Yeah, for eating, right? But why would we use that and not say like a bowl, like a normal glass bowl or something? Okay, so we see all these things and we know, okay, or even this, okay, how about this? That is, right? Diaper. Okay, you love ketchup, I love ketchup. Yeah, it's the diaper. Okay, so why do we use a diaper? Why do we use this, right? We know there's other options. We use it because it's easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? Okay, if you don't have this kind of diaper, if you don't have this kind of diaper, what do you have to do? What are you gonna have to do? You're gonna have to clean the diaper, right? You're gonna have to take the poopy poop out of the diaper, throw it into the toilet, and then you're gonna have to wash the diaper. If we have these, do we have to wash it? Do we have to wash plastic? No, we just throw it away, right? So we do these things, we use these things still because it's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. We're kind of lazy, right? We're just a little bit lazy, okay? We don't like to clean things, right? Do you like doing the dishes? No, nobody likes doing the dishes, right? So actually what happened in the 1940s and 50s is we started getting all these plastic things, and it was a good thing at the time because people were like, oh hey, I don't have to do as many dirty diaper changes. I can just take the dirty diaper, throw it away. I don't have to spend 30 minutes washing diapers. I don't have to spend 30 minutes washing the dishes every night. I can just throw it in the garbage. But then the garbage starts to pile up and we realize, oh no, what are we going to do with all this garbage? Yeah. So it's important to think about the information where you get it. And yeah. All right. So talking about resources here real quick when you're looking for information. I just wanted to throw this out there because, you know, we're talking about biases and where you get your information from. I obviously have a bias. I'm like, no plastic, no dirty diaper, no diapers, use cloth diapers. That's my thing. But what do you guys think of Wikipedia as a resource for information? Do you think that's a good resource? Do you guys know what Wikipedia is? Maybe some of you in China don't. Okay. So Wikipedia is this like online encyclopedia, and anybody can add to it. So like I can get on there and be like, plastics are the most evil thing in the world, and they Satan's idea, and Satan made them to kill people. You know, so I could go and put that on Wikipedia. Okay, so it's an open it's an open encyclopedia. Okay, so as a resource, Wikipedia is like, it's iffy. Okay, it's not the best resource because anybody can get on there and be like, Satan invented plastic, and yeah, plastic will give you, you know, cancer. Like anybody could say anything, but it can be a good resource because at the bottom, if you scroll down to the bottom of Wikipedia, it has the references, and so you can actually get some ideas. So I wouldn't use Wikipedia as your final ending point, but it could be a good idea. It could be a good place to get some ideas of where to look for resources. So if you go to a Wikipedia page and you scroll down to the bottom, it will tell you where it got some of the information, and you can check it a bit more that way. So Wikipedia, just telling you now, if you're in high school and you put down a Wikipedia as a resource, probably your teacher is going to be like, quack, no. But if you go to the bottom and you look at some of the references and resources, you might have some good ideas. All right, so all right, I'm going to skip ahead here. Okay, so I wanted to talk a bit about this, okay? Because we only got about 5 minutes left here, and like I said, I wasn't going to be able to cover everything today, but just some important things for you to think about, which are, you know, using plastic, what it's made out of, you know, good uses versus bad uses, and then when we're getting information, where do we get our information from to make sure our information is accurate? The last thing that I want to talk with you about is, you know, consequences if we don't change our habits, and, you know, what are some things that happen if we keep making bad decisions? Okay, so yeah, what do you think will happen to planet Earth, to your life, if we don't change what we're doing with plastic right now? So we know it doesn't break down, we know it's not good. What happens if we just keep going like, oh yeah, I'm done? What happens if we just keep you know, using plastic the way we've been using it? You know, we keep putting all the bubble wrap in the boxes. Yeah, we're gonna die. What else? How else will we die? Our planet will go brrr, it'll get cold. Yeah, yeah, so there could be some really negative things that happen, right? So this is actually a beach, I believe, in India. Okay, what do you think? You want to go swimming, guys? Huh? Yeah, it looks like a great place to go swimming, right? No, that's nasty, right? Okay. Right now, plastic is just going into the ocean. There's a lot of mismanaged plastic. A lot of countries, uh, they'll send their plastic to other countries, and then those countries will just dump it in the garbage, or the garbage. They'll dump it into the ocean, like the ocean is for garbage. And then this is what ends up happening. The plastic goes everywhere in the ocean. My husband, he lives in a country very far away from any other place, called Fiji, and they don't have much plastic in Fiji. But you go to Fiji and you'll see plastic on the beaches, and it's really sad. And most of that plastic actually comes from Australia, or comes from other places. It does not come from Fiji. So yeah, the plastic sticks around for a long time. Okay, there are 5 trillion pieces of plastic in the ocean right now. That is more than 52 times the stars that are in the Milky Way. Okay, so this includes even things like those little microbeads that were in your hand sanitizer. It includes plastic bags. It includes plastic forks. It's a lot of different plastics, a lot of different sources. And then plastics get into our food chain, okay? So as we talked about it, you're like, what? I eat plastic? Yes, you eat plastic all the time, okay? Anytime you eat any type of fish, and fish is great for you still, don't get me wrong, but we're starting to see more and more plastic in the fish, because what happens is the plastic gets eaten by the plankton gets eaten by a small fish, the small fish gets eaten by a bigger fish, and then you eat the fish. Okay, here's actually a video of a plankton, and it's eating plastic. Okay, so what will happen is a little fish is going to come along and yum, 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 eat that plankton up, and then that plankton is going to get eaten by a bigger fish, and then what happens to the big fish? It goes onto your dinner plate, right? Yummy, yum, yum. Okay, so that's how you end up eating plastic. Looks like a delicious dinner, boys and girls, doesn't it? And then you, of course, know better than to eat plastic, but you need to remember birds, whales, like they don't. So this is actually a picture of like a dead bird. This is actually a baby bird. Yeah, no, but the problem is that the plankton, when they eat the plastic, it doesn't go away. It ends up releasing chemicals inside the plankton, and then it releases more chemicals in the fish. Okay, and then that can actually be poisonous to us. Okay, because when plastic breaks down, it releases poisons. Okay, so this is actually a baby bird. Its mother kept feeding it plastic, and then it starved to death, right? Like imagine, a baby filled with plastic. So this is what plastic is doing to the environment. And you can look here and you can actually see a lot of this is like plastic bottle caps, cigarette butts, things like that. Things that honestly we don't need. It's a stupid use of plastic, right? I don't see any MRI machines in there, right? So, stupid using plastic in a stupid way, in a way that's not responsible, is really having some bad impacts on the environment right now. And if we look, China is actually one of the big players that's putting a lot of plastic in the ocean. It's not just China. It's a lot of different countries in Asia. United States is doing too much. So, okay, it's all over the place. But here in China a lot, and in Asia, there's a lot of plastic. That's in large part, that's actually for a couple of reasons, because China manufactures a lot of plastic. But then one thing to be aware of is the US was actually sending plastic to China. Okay, so it might, like, the US looks like, oh yeah, look. So this is a picture of like where plastic pollution is coming from. Like you're like, oh, US, it doesn't have much. Canada has hardly anything. But then you look over here in Asia and there's a lot of plastic pollution. But what's happening is a lot of the places in Europe and North America is we're actually sending our plastic over to India and to China. And so China, these places here, India and China, they don't have as strict rules for dumping plastic pollution and managing plastic pollution. And so that pollution ends up going from America, and they ship it over to China, and then it's easier to dispose of it in India and in China and in Thailand. So it's not really a good thing. But one thing really good is in 2018, China said, we're not taking anyone's garbage. You got to deal with your own garbage. So China's doing, has passed some rules with that recently. Yeah, a lot of countries ship their garbage. It's not a good thing. All right, I'm going to go for one more minute, and then we're going to open it up for questions. So why do you think China, Asia has so much pollution with plastics? Okay. You guys, some of you have lived here, I think probably all you guys lived in China at some point. But yeah, there's a lot of people. Absolutely. Yeah, lots of people. Where there's people, there's pollution, right? Also, part of it is the convenience thing, right? Lots of people trying to feed lots of people. It's just trying to get things into hands, right? When you buy like a snack here, how do you get the snack? How do they always give it to you? How do they give you your baozi? You go and you get your baozi in the morning. What do they give you the baozi in? In plastic, right? You get your nai cha. What's in nai cha? In plastic. Your sweet potato is in plastic. Yeah, so, there's different ways we can think about how to deal with this in our own lives, right? Because, we do hope that the companies and the governments will change and make policies and things like that. But ultimately, we as individuals, we have to take responsibility for our choices, right? So, we can do things like bring our own bag. We can do things like, if I know that I'm going to pick up some baozi, I can bring like a little plastic container and say, put it in here instead of in the plastic bag, and I can reuse that container again. If I'm getting my milk tea, I can get, a reusable bottle and just say, put it in there. I'll tell you, they'll look at you like, but they'll do it. Okay. So yeah, just to encourage you, it is a big problem, but you know what? Y'all are smart kids, and we see that the problem's there. And so we're going to figure out how to fix this, right? And we're going to make better choices, and we're going to get our peers to become weird. We're going to help our friends to get weird and start using their own plastic, their own reusable bags instead of the plastic bags, right? All right, so that's all I got for you. I'm going to leave the rest of the time for questions. And yeah, so if you guys have any questions you want to ask, now's a great time to go for it. If not, I always have a little bit more I can throw out to you. But yeah, there we go.
My question is, why don't they burn all of it?
Oh, okay, I didn't get to that as much. All right, why don't they burn plastic? Really good question. Okay, plastic, if it's not burned at very, 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 very high temperatures, like an industrial incinerator. So this is a machine that gets upwards of like 1,000 degrees Celsius. It gets extremely hot. If plastic is not burned in an incinerator, which is an expensive machine at very high temperatures, it releases a lot of toxic smoke. Okay, so I lived in Cambodia last year for about 6 months, and a lot of plastic was just everywhere. And the way they dealt with the plastic pollution in Cambodia is they burned it. I was about a mile from the garbage dump, and they would burn the garbage, and you could not breathe, you could not see, you would get headaches. We had children in the community that could not breathe, like they were having asthma attacks, and it was all from this burning plastic. And so it actually can cause chemicals to be released that cause cancer, that can cause mental problems. It's a bad thing. So you really should not burn plastic. If you're like camping and you're like, oh, I'm just going to burn my potato chip bag, I'm going to be so environmentally friendly. No, thank you. You're releasing a lot of poisons that will stay in the environment for a very, very long time. Only industrial grade incinerators can safely burn plastic, and they're not even completely clean. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you. And you say 9 very.
What?
You say 9 for very.
Oh, okay.
9 times 9
Oh yeah, I
times.
did. 9
Yeah.
times I did say it because it's very, 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 very bad to burn plastic. So don't do it, okay?
Okay, bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Okay, I think you answered all the questions. So thank you for your class.
All right, you're welcome. Thanks, guys. It was fun talking with you, and I hope you learned something.